समझ नहीं आ रहा अपने सैलरी इंक्रीमेंट का क्या करूं।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स के एसआईपी का टॉप अप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
क्या समझ में नहीं आया?
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स का एसआईपी टॉपअप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
अब समझा।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme related documents carefully.
In this third part of the Print's special deep dive into the Nikhil Gupta case, we'll be trying to answer the obvious question. Why would an intelligence service send a man it was using for a hit job abroad to Prague in the first place? 11 days remained to complete the job, urged the voice on the WhatsApp call, seemingly possessed by the kinds of demons that power a screenwriter's imagination. When you get the chance and the opportunity, hit the target, the voice said. No restrictions, no limitations. If any other person is with him, you can also give him a taste of the gun. The supposed hitman who was being hired said he was a little worried about bystanders. The reply was an unequivocal instruction to kill everyone. Let them go to heaven. The Delhi-based businessman Nikhil Gupta, who's facing trial in the United States after the Drug Enforcement Agency alleged that he was involved in the murder plot, was the voice on the line. And what he didn't know when he was saying all this, it was that he was the one walking into a carefully planned ambush. Ever since Gupta's arrest on charges of seeking the killing of Sikh separatist Gurpatwant Pannun, one issue has been shrouded in mystery. If the businessman, for the sake of argument, was conducting a criminal operation for India's external intelligence service, why was he allowed to travel to a national jurisdiction where he might be subject to arrest and exposure, even by chance? Following a breakdown with his court-appointed lawyers, Gupta's trial has been delayed to March 30 to give the new defense team time to prepare. That means complete answers could be many months away. But the massive documents already submitted by prosecutors to Victor Marrero, the judge who is conducting the trial in New York, give us some pretty valuable insights and important clues. The Czech police's request to the municipal public prosecutor for remanding Gupta into custody records that he travelled to Prague on a Swiss visa. The visa, which allowed Gupta to enter Europe's entire Schengen zone once he landed in Zurich, was issued on the 10th of June 2023 and was valid for 6 months. Routine tourist visa. Now there's no record in the documents of exactly when Gupta applied for a visa. According to VFS Global, which processes visa applications for the Swiss embassy and many other foreign countries, the maximum waiting time for a visa is around 15 days. So, 30th of May, 15 days. Likely then, Gupta had begun planning for his trip to Prague towards the end of May or early June. The request sent by the United States Justice Department to Interpol and the Czech Republic to seek Gupta's detention alleges that he first offered his contact in the United States, who was actually a police informant, $100,000 to kill Pannu on the 30th of May 2023. The very same day, Gupta applied for a visa. Gupta initially requested that the murder occur by, on or about June 11, 2023, or otherwise on or about June 26, after the Indian Prime Minister's official state visit to the United States to avoid political upheaval and controversy. A letter from the Justice Department alleges. The contact, who Gupta believed to be a Colombian narcotics trafficker, but as I said was an informant, negotiated a $15,000 advance, which is alleged to have been paid in cash through a Hawala dealer on the 9th of June. From this timeline, it seems fairly probable Gupta had been planning this meeting in Prague at the outset of the alleged murder for hire plot. Why? We don't know. Perhaps it was to complete the payment to the narcotics trafficker for the hit, perhaps to discuss further operations he was offering. A New York court issued a judicial warrant for Gupta's arrest secretly on the 13th of June, opening the way for him to be arrested on arrival in Prague. After the killing of Toronto-based Khalistan operative Hardeep Singh Nijjar on 18 June, the Justice Department alleges that Gupta mounted pressure for the plot to be speeded up. The day after Nijjar was shot dead, according to American prosecutors, Gupta and Yadav discussed meeting in either Los Angeles or Prague to discuss other contract murders, as well as conduct separate negotiations on the sale of firearms and drugs. The Justice Department letter, which is addressed to Interpol, suggests that as late as 19 June, investigators might not have been entirely certain who their target actually was. That is, it may not have known enough about Gupta or what we today know. The letter strangely provided two passport numbers, one Pakistani and the other Indian. The second Indian passport number was also inaccurate. Gupta's Czech defense lawyer would note in subsequent legal proceedings in Prague. That letter contained two photographs of Gupta taken by United States Border Police on his visits to that country in 2016 and 17. It's unclear, and one of the questions that may come up is if Gupta used a Pakistani passport, genuine or otherwise, on either of those trips. Little doubt exists from these documents that Gupta was not fully prepared for the prospect of being arrested on arrival in Prague. If he had, why would he go? The businessman, Czech police said, voluntarily handed over the passwords for the 3 phones he was carrying. Though Gupta claimed at that stage to be unable to identify Yadav, telling the DEA that the alleged RAW officer wore a mask, hat, glasses, long sleeves, t-shirts. The cell phones would yield photographs, employment records, bank statements and personal identification of Yadav to the Drug Enforcement Agency. Gupta's post-arrest references at Prague to his alleged handler by the codename Amanat are the first reference to Yadav in the investigative record. Thus, had Gupta not travelled to Prague, United States investigators are unlikely to have been able to establish to legal benchmarks his possible links to RAW. Perhaps they would never even have found out that Gupta had a handler. Lacking an official Hindi language translator, Czech authorities later hired a Pakistani origin translator, a one-time engineer called Zahid Rashid, to assist the court. The tape-recorded court proceedings suggest Gupta was a little flustered, which is pretty understandable if you were, in prison in a foreign country. At one stage, he requested the judge to notify, I quote, my son in India and my son in Pakistan and the Indian embassy in Prague. Now we know for a fact Mr. Gupta does not have a son in Pakistan, so this was probably a miscommunication. Further appeals though were filed by Gupta in the Czech constitutional courts, and he introduced the claim that his actions were of a political nature sanctioned by the Indian state. In his counsel's words, Gupta was a soldier sui generis. This argument was rejected though on the grounds that Gupta's actions were not aimed at changing the political order in the United States as a soldier would be seeking to do. Later, Gupta also argued that US authorities could have sought his extradition from India itself. Czech authorities though responded that these kinds of informal tactical decisions were permissible. The end result, long before Gupta landed in Prague, the trap was already closing on him. Through these 3 parts, we've documented strange carelessness in the running of the operation, errors in tradecraft, and outright inexplicable decisions that led up to what has become a serious conflict in the India-US relationship. I'm Praveen Swami, a contributing editor at ThePrint. Thank you for watching this special 3-part investigative series.